So I wanted to do a review on the Cube Litening C68x Pro, a bike that I bought at the tail end of November last year. And the reason I want to do a review on this today is because when I was looking at this bike, there was really nothing out there that allowed me to get any sort of in-depth information about it, apart from the Cube website. And there was plenty of pictures floating around, but no really sort of in-depth review on how the bike rides, sort of any just generic information on the sort of components that are on it. So I just thought I'd try and put some info out there, and it might be completely useless to some people, some people might find it really beneficial. So it's just my take on the bike, really. I'm no expert on bikes. I've been riding bikes for probably a good 20 years now, and been racing road for the last 10 from a mountain bike background. And yeah, I've had my fair share of really nice bikes. I've had a pretty good relationship with my local bike shop that's allowed me to have some nice bikes over the last 10-15 years. And so yeah, and just comparing it to sort of the bikes I've ridden previously, this is for me a pretty special bike, and a brand that I would never have even thought about going for, considering the previous bikes and brands that I've usually bought. So bike before this, I had a Specialized Tarmac Pro Di2 disc, and it was an absolute belter of a bike. Full Ultegra Di2 disc, roll wheels, pretty much a really nice sort of above standard build. And the reason I sold it was basically just to get some cash in the bank, because we just had a little baby girl, my wife and I, and it was coming towards the end of the season. I thought I could get some cash here and stick it away for the winter, and put things aside for Bubba. And then decided to start looking into bikes again, and I came across the Cube and mega impressed with the value. This particular model was retailing at $3,999, and for a bike with full Di2 and discs with the integrated cockpit, which was a massive thing for me. I just think nowadays, with the technology that we've got available, integrated cockpit should just be the norm, and I just think there's nothing worse than seeing loads of cables flying about at the front of your bike nowadays. But yeah, they have their place. I understand, you know, it's not everybody that can get a hold of a bike with the integration, but for me it was a massive thing for me that I wanted to get on my next bike, so I ticked that box. So obviously what you're looking at here is there's a few upgrades that I've done since purchasing the bike. It obviously came with standard alloy Newman disc wheels, which I sold pretty quickly as well. There seems to be a pretty popular market for disc alloy wheels, and I replaced them with these Hunt 50mm carbon disc wheels that again I got from my local bike shop, and I stuck some of the nice Shimano Ice Tech rotors. I kept the 160, which came stock. I couldn't be bothered messing about with spacers and buying a 140 front and a 140 back and 160 front. I just kept it the same. I Invisitaped the bike. I don't know if you can see slightly. the markings where I've put the tape on. Obviously the Invisitape, the name says it all, it's supposed to be invisible to the naked eye if you're not having a real proper look for it, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with how it's turned out. I just wanted a little bit of frame protection on there. I didn't want to spoil the look of the matte finish, the matte carbon finish on the frame, because for me that was another big selling point of the Cube. I really liked the paint job, and I have to say that the finish of the bike and the frame itself, the material, really exceeded my expectations to what the pictures I could find on the internet. So I was proper buzzed with the finish of the frame. So yeah, I mean, apart from that, it's pretty much stock bike. I've done a few little upgrades. You know, obviously the big one was the wheels. I've stuck a KMC gold chain on there. Upgraded the jockey wheels. These are JRC ceramic jockey wheels that I've stuck in. You know, whether they're any better than the standard Ultegra ones, who knows? But I think they just look nice with the chain. Saddle for me, I've been having real saddle issues over the last sort of 6 months since selling my tarmac. The saddle that I got on with was a Specialized Taupe Pro, the carbon rails, but the old version, not the new ones that are coming on the new Specialized bikes, and they seem to be like hen's teeth. And I did manage to find one on eBay and had it fitted to this bike, but unfortunately the base of the saddle cracked on me. I did buy it knowing that there'd been a repair on it. Well, I just thought I would take my chance, and it lasted a handful of rides outside before it actually completely disintegrated on me. So I was shopping around for saddles, and I thought to myself, what could I get that I know that I've previously ridden that's reasonably comfortable. And I used to have a Giant Propel, which came with a stock Giant Contact SLR saddle. This is the forward saddle with the particle flow through the middle, and it just so happens it looks pretty stealth with the bike colour scheme, the black and the white. And as far as saddle goes, it's the closest I've been able to get a hold of that's actually been as comfortable as my old taupe. I have actually just ordered a Cell Italia SLR Kit Carbonio Flow. Found one on eBay for a reasonable price that I'm going to give a try as well, because I'm just not 100% on this, although if this has to be, it has to be. I definitely wasn't a fan of the short stubby Cube nonce saddle that came with this, and again I managed to get that sold on eBay, shifted it on pretty quickly. So yeah, rabbiting on here again about personal things. Saddle's obviously a very personal thing, and you're going to want your own saddle on there. Picked up a couple of what I think pretty nice stealth bottle cages, Lifeline bottle cages from Wiggle. Didn't break the bank, 17 quid each. Thought for proper carbon cages that was alright. And I stuck a little bit of camo 2.5mm lizard skin tape on there, which again, personal preference, but I think it looks quite nice. Standard mount that came with the bike. This is a Cube mount, just mounts on underneath there. And Cube actually, well, the shop I bought the bike from, Rutland Cycling, they've been absolutely fantastic in terms of comms with this bike, because I've had a few wee niggles with it. This was part of the package that came with the bike, this out front mount, which works perfect, but I got an email from them recently saying that there's a design fault with it and they're sending me out a new one. Apparently there's been some people complaining about them cracking and their mounts falling off, but I've not had any issues yet. 1500 miles in, so touch wood that doesn't happen, but I'm getting a new one sent anyway. Spacers, really specific spacers that come with this bike. You can't use a standard spacer on there, but I have cut the fork tube down slightly, but I've left a couple of spacers in there, which is set up pretty comfortable for me. And yeah, the last thing that I had an issue with was the seat clamp. So the top bolt you can see is slightly different. It's a silver, not black bolt, and the bolt had threaded itself. And again, Rutland have been amazing. They sent out a completely new mechanism, seat clamp mechanism that sits on the inside here. I don't know if you can see down the back, but it's I've got a brand new one sitting there waiting to go if I need to. And I got a couple of Cube specific dropouts hangers spare as well, which was handy, because I did have, unfortunately, a little ding, which you maybe notice on there with the skewer, the through bolt. It's missing the pointy triangle that comes on the front ones. These are the Newman through bolt that came with the bike. I actually kept them because I quite liked them. I thought they were pretty smart, but I actually managed to hit the back one, and I ended up just doing a little odd job repair on it, which I need to touch up with some paint. So in terms of the bike itself and how it rides, I'm mega impressed. Going from a Specialized Tarmac Pro, which is a pretty high-end bike, gets 5-star reviews all over the web for how it rides, comfort, speed, blah blah blah. For me, this is well up there with it. I recently, just back in February before lockdown hit us, was on a 7-day week-long training camp out in Spain, just in Benidorm, just doing the roads on the coast up north of Benidorm and inland a little, which was absolutely amazing. And I had this with me, and it was just superb. It climbs, it rolls on the flats, it's proper responsive, it's comfy. For an aero bike, it munches the miles. And as I say, jumping from my tarmac to this, I was a bit sort of sceptical and worried about the comfort, but this has been just superb. Just cannot complain one single bit. I've had no issues, glutes, lower back, shoulders, anything like that. It's just been super comfy and quite surprisingly adjustable, considering you're obviously getting an integrated stem and bar setup, and all you can really adjust is, you know, your lever height in out and the height of your stem. You've got no sort of forward or angle tilt available, but for me it's just been one of the most comfortable bikes I've ridden, and way more comfortable than my old giant Propel that I had. As I say, it was a worry for me going back to an aero bike for that reason, but definitely don't regret making that decision. It's been one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden. Possibly tubeless setup has helped with that, and with Cube trying to maintain a relatively skinny seat post, but it's whatever they're doing in the tech labs, it's working. This is a pretty awesome bike and I'm super impressed with it. For me, at the price point, just untouchable. And again, a lot of people might see this review and, you know, well, it's a Cube. And I was like, yeah, okay, but nah, you gotta get your head around the whole brand thing now, folks. Like, for me, you know, it's more than caught up with what else is out there. Again, I'd happily admit that it's a brand that I would never have ever thought about going to myself, but having ridden Specialized, Giants, Treks, all the big name brands, I thought well, you know what, take the plunge, and I'm really not disappointed. This is one super awesome bike, totally love it, and it's just, yeah, we're just really happy with it, and no complaints whatsoever. As I say, the guys at Rutland have been super responsive to any questions I've had, and yeah, just loving riding my bike. And that, as I say, I'm circa 1500 miles into it now. Some of them have been on some really nice roads out in Spain, and the rest of them have been a bit on the turbo, and obviously in the wonderful lumpy, bumpy, potholy roads of Scotland. But it's coped with every single one of them, and yeah, super loving it. So if any of you are considering the Cube Lightning, I definitely wouldn't put you off doing it. It's definitely been a great purchase for me.